Well, hello everyone, it's Kevin here for Mobile DJ Remastered. Today I want to talk about an interesting comment I got on one of my recent videos. I basically talked about my first paid gig as a DJ. And there was a question from a young person, I think they said they were 15 years old, and they said, hey, what would you recommend I do, or do you have any tips before I go to my first paid gig because it's coming up soon? So I gave a couple tips in the chat. Actually, I said basically 3 things. And then I also went out and asked and polled some other folks, some other DJ experts, and got their opinions too. So today I'm going to talk about 5 tips to help you if you have a big first gig coming up, whether it's your first gig, it's your first paid gig, whatever the case may be. Here's a couple tips that are great, and I think you might benefit from them. Okay, first tip is don't try to use too many effects, tricks, scratching, etc. You don't need to be a performance DJ on your first time out. In fact, many DJs don't use those kind of tricks at all, especially mobile DJs, wedding DJs. They're not using a lot of effects or performance features, but I want to let you know and stress that if it's your first paid gig and maybe it's your first time out, or if it's your first time collecting a paycheck for your work, you don't need to put a bunch of tricks and you don't need to perform necessarily. DJing is more about connecting with the crowd and creating the right vibe with music selection and the music that you play. It's not about the tricks. Now, as you get better, and if you're really good at those tricks, definitely you want to show off your talents and show off your skills, but you don't have to do it on your first time out. And especially, I heard this from several DJs. Don't use the client's event as your practice sessions. Don't try a trick just because you thought of it or you haven't perfected it. Don't learn scratching, okay, at a DJ event that you're actually getting paid for. Don't do that. So perfect it in the bedroom, and then take it out to the event or the club or to the wedding, whatever it is, okay? So that's tip number 1. Don't worry so much about tricks and effects and performance DJing. Number 2, as said before, number 2 is music selection or programming is so important. It's the most important thing we do as DJs. So make sure that you know what the person hiring you wants in terms of music selection. Make sure you know what kind of crowd's going to be there. If you're doing a wedding, you can pretty much assume that there's going to be a wide breadth of different generations there at the wedding. If you're going to do a quinceañera or you're going to do a bar mitzvah, bat mitzvah, you can assume that there's probably going to be a similar profile, but there's probably going to be a big group of kids or folks around that 15, 16 years old, the teenager years. And then you're going to have probably a bunch of parents and aunts and uncles and that kind of thing. So you might have 2 generational groups. If you're, doing a birthday party or an anniversary party, there might be a specific segment or generation there. Anyway, find out what the ages are of people who are going to be there, and then find out their vibe. What kind of music taste do they have? What does the person who's hiring you want out of the event in terms of music? They may want a bunch of dancing. They may want line dances, or they might not want line dances. They may want no dancing. There's all kinds of different configurations. You've got to figure that out. Then you can talk about genres, things like, do you want hip hop? Do you want country music? What kind of genres, do you want to play? Now, some folks are going to say things like, we like a mix. We just want a mix of different genres. Well, that's cool, but you're still going to want to probably stay within the top 40. You're going to want to, you're not going to want to stray really deep. Okay. You definitely want to keep mainstream songs in mind, no matter what. Even if you're doing alt rock or you're doing whatever, EDM, make sure to pick songs that you probably would hear on the radio or may have heard on the radio, because those songs, those mainstream songs are going to be what connect with people. And that's your main job, connecting music and people together. Don't worry about going deep in your crates. You might have that great banger that you think would work and you love it, and it's a great dance song. But if it doesn't have millions of views on millions of listens on Spotify and millions of views on YouTube or whatever, it's probably not good. Okay, it's probably not a good thing to bring out on your first gig. So save that for later, or for when you're DJing with your friends or just messing around in your bedroom. Don't bring that to your first paid gig. Okay, that's tip number 2.
Hey guys, just wanted to pop in and say, please subscribe if you haven't already to my channel. Lots of great videos and content coming out, and I would love to have you as a subscriber. So thank you so much.
Tip number 3, check in with the person that hired you during the event. That is really important. Like, go up and just ask them, hey, how's it going? How's the vibe? How am I doing? How's the music? Just check in throughout the event, because what they're going to do is give you little tweaks. They might say, oh yeah, it's going great, keep it up. Well, then you're in the zone. Keep it up, okay? They might change though, change your direction just a little bit, and they might say, hey, you're doing great. Hey, do you think you could play a little more classic rock? I know some of the guys here really like that, and that'd be a good style to kind of play a little more of. Great. You don't have to stop what you're doing and go all on classic rock, but pepper some in. Kind of take their cue, because they're going to give you the best direction. At a wedding, I'm always, I love to check in with my couple, right? Like, hey, you guys, how are things going? Do you like what the music is? Do you like how things are going? Do you like the dancing? You just check in, okay? You don't have to be neurotic about it. You don't have to check every 5 seconds. But certainly check in a couple times throughout the event. I think that's important. And in fact, that was tip number 3. But I talked to some DJ buddies about, hey, what would you say to someone going on their first paid gig? And a guy named Jim Carroll told me that he thinks you definitely should connect with the person that paid you, but use tells from the crowd. He had a couple good points. He said, look, judge the vibe from the people on the dance floor and even off the dance floor. Are those people kind of bobbing their head? Are they tapping their feet? Are they swaying a little bit? That's a good sign. That could mean that they just don't want to dance, but they're into the vibe. Okay, they're connected with the music. That's a good point from Jim. Also, he says, look, if you're getting a ton of requests from people, you might be missing what the vibe should be. And that could be true. I know there are lots of events where you're a DJ, and if you haven't had this happen before, you will. People are going to come to you and ask you to play stuff just because they want to feel it. That's what they're hearing in their mind, or they're wanting to hear at the party. It might not be the people that hired you, but people are going to ask you for requests. I don't think that necessarily means you're missing the vibe. I mean, I've seen people come up and ask me for a song because they want to keep the vibe going, and that's what they think would work. So, any case, I would say definitely that's a good thing to think about. Look out, watch the crowd, and if you are getting a lot of requests, if there's a single song that keeps coming up, or a genre that keeps coming up, and you're missing that genre from different people, that could be a signal for sure. I agree with Jim on that. And he also says, look, smile, be positive, put a lot of, make sure you're smiling. Even when you're talking on the microphone, smile. When you're playing, when you're on the jog wheels, when you're on your controller, when you're on your computer looking for that next song, just smile and look out at the crowd. Don't have some DJs call it Serato face, right? Like you're just stuck on the computer and you're just looking for the next song and you're not even looking up at the crowd or whatever. Okay. That's also a good tip. Number 5, what I'll say is, and this one comes in from a guy named Reese Varnell, and he talked about, this is great, I love this. He said, look, if you're young and this is your first paid gig, bring an experienced DJ with you as a wingman or a wingwoman, right? Have a DJ with you, and that's such a good tip, because look, there's lots of things that can happen, okay? Let alone all the technical components that tie the speakers into the sound source, your mixer, your levels, your volume, your microphone, so many things. And then think about your songs, your DJ software, if you have software, unless maybe you're in a standalone controller. All those components have to be nailed and have to work properly. And you got to have all those things lined up. that's a whole universe in and of itself, okay? And things can go wrong there, right? You might need to troubleshoot quickly, swap something out, there's a cable unplugged or whatever. You gotta think quick on your feet. That's just one component. Then think of all the other things that are, environmental issues. Somebody's not happy, there's a fight that breaks out. Depending on your kind of venue or defined kind of event, what do you do in these cases? What if somebody drops a glass on the dance floor? A glass, it shatters, there's glass everywhere. What do you do? Well, experienced DJs would say, oh yeah, okay, we gotta pull the volume down a little bit. We gotta make sure I got eyes on somebody that can come clean it up. You might wanna say something on the mic. You know what I'm saying? You gotta kind of roll with situations that happen. An experienced DJ will know and be able to coach you, right next to you. You're doing your thing. It's your event. You're getting paid. But you might want to ask that experienced DJ come along with you as a coaching opportunity, help you through some of those potential sticking points. And the more you do yourself, you're going to have a bag of tricks, right? You're going to have all those little scenarios in your head, and you're going to know what to do whenever little things happen. Okay, guys, that's 5 tips. I hope that you can use those to help if you're, about to do your first paid gig. I hope those help you. If you're not doing a first paid gig, but just you're starting to, do events and actually DJ for real outside of your bedroom or whatnot, I hope these tips help you too, because I think they could help anybody starting up. So guys, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time.